All right, if this doesn't show up as live, then I'm just going to record it and show it on the recording. So, hello everybody. If we have never met before, my name is Vaishali. I am an engineer turned psychic, and I'm going to share my screen. We are going to talk about, is your sixth sense trying to tell you something about money? So give me 1 second and we will be on as soon as I can figure out the Zoom part of it. Share screen. All right, so it's your sixth sense trying to tell you something about money. That is what we are going to talk about today. And welcome to everybody who's watching it live and also everybody who is watching it on the recording. So I wanted to start with a story about driving and just take the analogy that let's say that this is your starting point and you've started driving and you keep driving here. And over here, there is maybe you have some sort of a gut feeling that you need to take this exit. And somehow you skip that, you keep going. So you're just driving all the way, and then you get stuck in a traffic jam. And this traffic jam actually kind of has you stalled for, let's say, a couple of hours or something. And then you keep moving here, and then here again, you have this gut feeling that you need to take the exit. And you don't take the exit again, and you keep going, and then here you get stuck in a traffic jam again. And this traffic jam is again going to cost you about 2-3 hours. Whereas on the other hand, if you had, for instance, taken the exit, if you had taken this exit over here, then you could have breezed through and maybe even found like another way and gotten to your destination over here. And the same thing over here, if you had taken this exit, you could have breezed through and gotten to your destination. However, if this is your destination, you're still far away and you have lost a lot of time and also a lot of headache. And these points are the interventions at which the sixth sense is coming in and it is telling you that, hey, listen, you're kind of going on the wrong path here, because if you go on this path, you're going to get stuck. And you kind of ignore it, you keep going, and you get stuck. And this can happen for traffic, but it can also happen for other things in your life. It can happen for career, let's say, that you are in some sort of a job or some sort of work and you have an opportunity and you miss it, and then you get stuck for some reason and you are in a position where let's say it's not a good place to be in. And it can happen for your financial situation as well, which is for money. So we're going to look a little bit more in the details of that, and we'll move forward. Okay, so now I can figure out how to get out of this. It would be wonderful. Okay. All right, so that is the story. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. And then the next thing I want you to do is take a moment and think about money as a person that you can communicate with. So let's say that money is a person in front of you and you can communicate with it. Then what would you say to money? Number one. And then the second part is, what would money say to you? Like, what exactly is money going to say to you? So that is something you can think about and see what money has to say. Is money going to say that, oh, you're doing a great job, or it has something else to say to you? That is something you can think about. You can take a moment, you can pause the video if you like, you can write it down, and then you can go keep going after that. All right. So what you're going to learn here, the first part is about the five senses. The next part is about the sixth sense, and then we are going to learn about the sixth sense intelligence. So as far as I'm also going to give you an introduction to the challenge I did a while back to tap into your sixth sense and create 20 bucks. So I hosted a challenge where I showed people how they can tap into their sixth sense and create the $20 using their sixth sense. So if I asked you to create 20 bucks, you could create it in a lot of different ways. However, this was to create the 20 bucks using your sixth sense. So how are you going to do it? So in this case, what would happen is instead of you going to have to kind of go out and seek the money somehow magically, the money is going to kind of find its way to you. That is the beauty of the sixth sense. And we had a lot of people who kind of got amazing results. Carl actually had someone stop him in the hallway and say that, hey, I owe you a 20. That was one of the results. Manisha found a lot of 20 bucks in a lot of different places. And Melissa, she not only got 20 bucks, but she got an intuition to call a spa and she found out that she had $1,500 worth of credit. So that is the power of the sixth sense. If you leverage the power of the sixth sense, then you can, let's say, do things differently than you would normally do with your five senses. So as far as human beings are concerned, we have five senses. The first one is we have the eyes for seeing, we have the nose for smelling, the tongue for taste, the ears for hearing, and then the skin for feeling or touching. And all of us, we use our five senses on a day-to-day basis. However, it is possible that a lot of people, they take the five senses for granted. There is no acknowledgement of the beauty of the five senses unless something goes wrong. So maybe you get something in your eye and you cannot see for a few moments, then you can probably appreciate the sense of vision. So that is as far as five senses are concerned. And then as far as the sixth sense is concerned, the sixth sense operates differently. So as a human being, these five senses, the five senses are the senses of the body, which means that they work more at a human level. They have the limitations of space as well as time. And then as far as the sixth sense is concerned, it works differently. The sixth sense does not have the limitation of space or time. This is a slightly complex subject to grasp, and if you like, I have a video on my channel with Harjot Singh Guliani where I talked a little bit about it, how you can what is the difference between the five senses versus the sixth sense. And I also have some videos on intuition which you can look at in detail to understand a little bit about this concept. Let's just leave it at that. So how the five senses communicate versus how the sixth sense communicates, those are two different things. The five senses, like I mentioned, they have the bounds of space and time. However, they also operate in present time only. And it is not something that the sixth sense does. The sixth sense does not have the bound of space and time, but not only that, it can tap into the past, it can tap into the present, and it can tap into the future. And this is the reason why I told you where you were driving down this path and then suddenly your sixth sense said that, hey, take an exit, and you didn't take it. So sixth sense was kind of trying to warn you in a very subtle way that, hey, listen, if you keep going down this path, you're going to get stuck in a traffic jam, which is going to be for a couple of hours, and you're going to get frustrated or annoyed, or you're going to scream, whatever the case may be. But that's how the sixth sense was trying to warn you. So if you have tapped into the sixth sense and if you have kind of listened to it, then you may kind of pick up on that and you may go and take the exit. And if you just ignore it as, oh, that's just a thought, I'm going to keep going my way. And then after you get stuck in traffic, you may realize or understand that, oh my God, that is what the sixth sense was trying to tell me. So that is one way the sixth sense tries to communicate. Just think of it as tapping or looking at the tip of the iceberg as far as the sixth sense is concerned. So we already looked at how the sixth sense communicates. Now, the sixth sense can also communicate in other ways. For instance, let's say that you're about to get a job offer. For instance, let's just pick a name. There's a real story with a fake name. So Lisa, that's the fake name. The story is real. So Lisa was about to get a job offer, and she kind of took the offer and she signed off on it, and it was a great offer. However, she felt like something was wrong or something was off. So even though she had a job offer in hand, she kept interviewing and she got another job offer. So now you have Lisa with job offer number one as well as job offer number two, and she is interviewing, or she interviewed twice. So what exactly happened? Well, it turns out she joined job number one with the job offer number one, and believe it or not, things weren't quite right at that place. So she had to start over again, and she had to kind of go and start interviewing again. However, she just made a call to the people from job offer number two, and they kind of helped her get into that place. So even though things could look even though things looked good on paper, they weren't quite so, and the sixth sense warned her, and because of that warning, she had already interviewed at the place, and then her time to transition from job one to job two was a lot shorter than starting all over again with having to interview. So that is one way the sixth sense is trying to communicate, or it is going to communicate. The second one could be like you're about to buy something, and the sixth sense is saying that, hey, listen, don't buy this because maybe it's going to go on sale tomorrow. And you buy it anyway, and then you realize that, oh, it went on sale tomorrow. So that could be another way. That's a little bit of a less complex example of how the sixth sense communicates. And then the last example I have is, let's say that you're trying to enter into a contract with someone, and you feel that something is wrong, similar to the job offer. So in that case, would you sign off on the contract if your sixth sense said no and everything looked good on paper? That is something you can think about and let me know, or put it in the comments. So what are the signs that you're ignoring the intelligence of the sixth sense? The first one could be that you are delaying a decision. For instance, let's say that you want to make a decision. However, for whatever reason, you are kind of delaying that decision because you don't feel that it's the right decision to make. So essentially, it's a way that the sixth sense is warning you or telling you that, hey, listen, you aren't really making the right decision. So, just why don't you hold off on it? The second one could be the gut says no and the brain says yes, which means that, for instance, I will give you an example. Let's take another name, Anna, for instance. Anna had to make a wire, and her gut was screaming and telling her that do not do this wire transfer, something is wrong. And for whatever reason, she felt like she had to do it. So she kept driving all the way to the bank. And all the way she was driving, her gut was screaming, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So she went and did the wire anyway. So after she did the wire, within a few days, she found out that the transaction she was working on, that was not a legit or a real transaction. So she had to recall the wire back. So that is an example where the gut was saying no, but the logic was saying that she had to do it. So she went ahead and did it. So that is the second example. And then the third example would be you just have some sort of a weird feeling, like the case we took for Lisa, where she had a weird feeling that even though she had this job offer, something was going to go wrong in terms of the job offer. So now we are going to look at what an energetic loop is and what are the clues that you are running an energetic loop. So an energetic loop is something where you keep repeating the same pattern over and over again. For instance, you take an offer for job one and you do job one, or you go to job one and you find out that, let's say it's a toxic work environment. And you're like, oh my God, I'm just stuck in such a bad place. I need to look for another job. So then you work there for a little bit, then you go and switch to job number two. And then you find the same thing. that, oh, this is not a good place to work in, oh, I'm stuck in another job like this, and then you go and look for a third job, and believe it or not, the same pattern repeats itself. So it's almost like you're kind of stuck in an energetic loop. And in this loop, you will find that you kind of keep repeating the same pattern over and over again. I took an example of the pattern for being stuck in a job with a toxic environment. It could be with a toxic boss. It could happen for money. It could happen for relationships, romantic relationships, and it could happen for a lot of different things. So the first key is to be able to recognize the pattern, or to be able to even know and understand that this pattern exists. And what this pattern does is it keeps you stuck in the same cycle, which means that you are kind of in the same cycle over and over again, one job to another, and all the time you're kind of stuck in a toxic work environment. The good thing is that it can be fixed, and in order for you to be able to fix it, first you have to be aware of it. My favorite quote, which I have coined, is awareness precedes change, which means that first you have to be aware of this pattern, that this pattern exists. And once this pattern exists, you have to do things to change it so that you don't kind of keep repeating the same loop over and over again and kind of keep getting stuck in the toxic work environment sort of a job, or a toxic boss kind of a job, or some other pattern which you are repeating in your life. So first you need to gain awareness, and then you can make changes. And it's a lot easier for you to make changes here with the sixth sense, and to gain awareness with the sixth sense, or using the power of the sixth sense in addition to whatever it is that you're using, because you'll be able to kind of tap on these points or tap on these patterns very, very quickly and understand that, oh, this is what's happening. I need to break this loop. So how exactly do you break the loop? That is something I'm covering in a virtual 2-day retreat I'm holding this weekend on July 12th as well as 13th. And it is held online on Zoom, and you can join me live on Zoom. And the link to sign up is below wherever it is that you are watching this video. So this is the first time I'm live streaming, so I'm not sure how the stream is showing up, but I'm going to find out shortly. And I'm going to go ahead and put the links below so that you can sign up for the retreat if you're watching it live. And what you will do in this retreat is you will clear the emotional contracts and activate your sixth sense and map your next aligned moves. So even though the patterns can occur in a lot of different places, like it could happen for your love life, it could happen for your work life, it could happen for your money space. Money and work are kind of correlated, because most of the people, they make money based on their career, or based on their work. So we are going to look at the money space tied to your work, or whatever it is that you're doing, which is bringing you the money. So we are going to look at those patterns in detail, and you will get to clear any emotional contracts that you have. You will also get to activate your sixth sense and map out your next aligned money moves, whatever the moves are that you are going to make. And if you're watching this live, and if you sign up within the next hour, I do not know what the time is right now, but I'm going to find out. So let's say that it is almost 10:30, 10:20. So if you sign up by 12 o'clock Pacific time, or by 3 o'clock Eastern, or by 8 o'clock UK time today, which is, what is the date? Today is July 10th. So today, July 10th, if you sign up, then I'm happy to offer you a $10 gift card to my psychic shop. Sign up before that time and email me with the code word SENSE, SENSE. And if you do that, I will offer you a $10 gift card to my shop, where you can grab a lot of the stuff on the sixth sense. You can grab a lot of the stuff on I have some stuff on relationship readings as well, and there is you can check the shop out and see what else it is that interests you. So that is the code word SENSE. Just email me within the hour, and you will receive your $10 gift card. And if you're watching this video past the date, then what I will do is I will put in a link to where you can get the recording of the virtual retreat. So we're going to do the retreat over 2 days, which is July 12th as well as 13th. And these 2 days, it's going to be about 2-3 hours per day. So it's about like 4 to 6 hours total. And I will make it available as a recording. So if you're watching this after the retreat is over, or for whatever reason you can't make it to the live event, then you can get the recording and you can watch the recording and you can work on your patterns and see what patterns are kind of running your life. So either you are running your life or the patterns are running your life, and you can find out what patterns are running your life and kind of bust them so that you can take the next aligned step or make the next aligned move in order to be able to move forward. It was just like the drawing that I had where you were driving and then your sixth sense is kind of giving you an piece of information that, hey, listen, this is the time to take an exit, and you ignore it. But now that you have more awareness, you're going to not ignore it and you're going to move forward, take that exit so that you can kind of get to your destination a lot faster, a lot quicker, and with a lot more ease. If you have any questions, then go ahead and put them in the chat. I was sharing the screen, so I don't know how the live stream turned out, if it shared the screen or not, but I explained most of the information. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll see you next time. Thank you everybody for watching.